Hello and welcome to Premier Study in Investing. It's great to have you. Thanks for stopping by.
Hey, welcome back. Going to be talking about David Rogers Webb, the great taking, and some of the work that's going on in the United States, state level legislators, House bills, and things of this nature. And I'm going to be talking about this specific video on ITM Trading Inc. It's basically a fairly popular platform. Daniela Cambone, she has a show. They essentially offer products on financial advisors, gold and silver investing, and picked up David Rogers Webb early, and so has been on the show about 4 times. Let me give you the 60-second synopsis of what David's trying to communicate to people. Because there's 2 really categories of comments that I felt were pretty true. One was like, I don't understand what this guy is talking about, and the second part would kind of be, what are we supposed to do? How can we find out about these particular bills in various states? When should we show up? So this video was essentially about David kind of calling out to the citizenry and saying, we are making our claims and we are speaking at the subcommittee level, but once it gets passed and it goes up to, I guess, Congress, that the state representatives have to speak for themselves, and David and his colleagues cannot speak on their behalf at that level. And basically, they are not getting enough reinforcement from citizens in order to basically read through the bills, be articulate and knowledgeable about, say, what the changes are, why it matters, and how to basically field some of the opposing sides' arguments. Right. Okay. So here's the 60-second version for those of you who are not familiar with David Rogers Webb and never heard about him. He basically says that he came from a hedge fund background, IT, and then got into private equity hedge fund work when he was a young man. He realized that there was something strange going on, and he basically concluded that there's been some laws that have passed over a number of years and some changes in the financial world where when I buy a share of NVIDIA with my broker, other people are allowed to use that collateral for their own side bets, so say for their derivatives positions, because behind each brokerage is a custodian bank, a large bank, probably an investment bank. So that all these funds that we are just kind of made to believe are ours and just stay in our account actually aren't. They're pooled, they're anonymized or anonymous, so I can't tell which exact share of, say, let's say there's 1 billion shares, common shares outstanding of NVIDIA, which 9 are mine. No one could tell me that. So that's one point. They all get pooled together, and then they're kind of held or even moved around through different financial clearing corporations. These could be Goldman Sachs. There's a couple of different clearing corporations in Europe. Euroclear, I think, is one that comes to mind. And in the United States, it's the DTCC. Well, anyways, David has looked and read and found information about how the Americans did it when the Americans communicated with the European Union, who were also trying to come onto the same system. They found some documents that were saying, well, what about this and what about that? And he kind of pieced it together, and he concluded that in instances of bankruptcies, like we had in 2007, 2008, as well as more recently, Silicon Valley Bank, Signature Bank, etc., that if these big financial institutions collapse and they're we'll just call them systemically important, that they have this special term called control, which is a bankruptcy term. And in terms of bankruptcy, when there's these assets, who owns them, it's the major institutions, the big banks, that have control, meaning that they are the senior creditor is the term that they use. And I'll put a couple, because I want to read it right. And I should just show you this. But I'll put it on here that basically there's these 3 exceptions, A, B, and C here. And they're talking a lot about clearing corporations, entitlement holders, and creditors that have priority claims. So if you're kind of lost about what is exactly he talking about, and I think just looking at this and reading it would help you to understand why you may be a little bit confused, because these are sort of odd and highly legal sort of terms and concepts put together. So the big picture, this isn't about taking people's houses or taking people's land or their cars. They already hold financial assets for everyone that has money either in a retirement account, or if your, say, money is coming out of a pension fund, those assets have also been like digitized, or they're already digital assets held in this larger system that I just described. And so given an awful collapse, those would all get swept up into basically saving big banks as systemically important banks or systemically important institutions. So David just thinks that it's kind of an on-purpose thing. It's basically designed in order to gain more control over average people. That it will happen, that it's crazy, and that the end goal isn't really about trying to get rich off of all your money because these people already have money. It's really about control. And so it would be kind of, in my terms, deconstructing our current financial system in order to kind of convert everybody onto a new, whatever the next financial model is, right? Whether it's central bank digital currency or something similar, that would kind of be the way that it would happen. Okay, so let's talk about this video. So that should kind of answer the first question of like, what is David actually talking about here? Why is he using all these big terms? How come I can't quite piece it all together based on this one video? He has, I think, been on the show 4 times. They do have a channel called The Great Taking on YouTube. You can find the audiobook. People have made audiobooks that you can listen to the book if you'd like. You can Google The Great Taking PDF, and you can find different ways to download it. Or David Rogers Webb. He's been on YouTube a lot. So then the second thing would be, well, people were saying, how do I find out when these bills are coming up in my state so I can show up, tell my friends, we can contact our state representatives and be more supportive? Well, I kind of had to like back solve it because I didn't really know how to do that either. But what I did know is that James Patrick on his channel, The Big Picture with James Patrick, has the showing or the video of when they spoke in New Hampshire under New Hampshire House Bill 427, as you can see, and this was on January 23rd of 2025. So I knew at least that I could come up with what it was called in one state, so House Bill 427. And then it just became a matter of doing a Google search, and so you can find Legiscan, and this was the first kind of hit where I saw it come up, and so here we have it, House Bill 247. It was brought by this Representative Bernardi. His email, his phone number. So he probably already knows about it because he issued the bill, right, or sponsored the bill. But David's big push was like, hey, we can't do this on our own. We really, really need the support of the citizens in these states to show up, call their representatives and say, this is a big deal. This is what it's about. Make sure they read the bill. Make sure they can like field these questions from the opposition. Well, what else can we pull off this? What I really found was the bill title was called Relative to Amending the Uniform Commercial Code. And I punched around on a couple other websites and finally came up with this one, which is pretty good. And I'm going to use this as my keyword search, so Relative to Amending the Uniform Commercial Code. And on trackbill.com, you can put in your keywords, Amending Uniform Commercial Code. You can click all states or by a specific state, but I'm doing all states here. And then you can search it, and it's really great. So here we have New Hampshire, HB 427, and you can see Relative to Amending the Uniform Commercial Code. So I wasn't exactly sure that they were going to use that exact same verbatim word for word language everywhere. They also have another one coming up. But one thing to know, the next hearing in New Hampshire for those folks would be tomorrow. So March 19th at 10 a.m. in the legislative, what is this called? It's easier to see here. Legislative Office Building, 302, 304. So I think you could probably figure it out from there which building that would be in New Hampshire, in the Capitol. So then there's a bunch of other ones. Here's an Arkansas bill. This one was really long, so this wasn't it. I'll just show you. It's really nice because they have embedded in here the PDF, and you can read or expand it. But this is a huge 103-page document. You should know like right away. You're looking for certain words like security entitlement or secured creditor, things like this. If they're going through a whole redefinition of terms like starting an A, agreement, bearer, bank, bill of lending, if they're doing all that, that's not what you're looking for. New York, New York, Connecticut. So this is the South Dakota one, and it's the exact same wording, amend provisions to the Uniform Commercial Code that we saw in New Hampshire. And so this is the one you saw that it failed, but this will be a nice example. So, right out of the gate, validity of a security, the rights and duties of issuers with respect to transfer, or register of transfer. So securities intermediary, rights and duties of security intermediary and entitlement holder. So that's exactly if you don't see that like in the first, 10, 20 seconds, it's probably not what you're looking for. And so now you can identify, this was South Dakota House Bill 1122 and House Commerce and Energy Engrossed. And so you're starting to get the idea of how you can find these. This one said it did not pass. It failed. So the yeas had 26, the nays had 41. So like this looks like the exact kind of thing that we're looking for with this Arkansas bill, HB 1659, to amend the Uniform Commercial Code and to clarify the priority among security interests and entitlement holders under the Uniform Commercial Code. So how can we find out what happened? Maybe we want to click on Actions. On March 4th, 2025 in the House, filed, read the first time, rules suspended, read the second time, and referred to the Committee on Insurance and Commerce in the House. So, but once you basically have the bill number, so like in Arkansas, HB 1659, you could probably go back. Let's see if we can do that. So that's what messed me up. So you have to put Arkansas or Kansas. So, you get the idea. If you can't find the exact date on the next thing that's supposed to happen with a House bill like this, and this one's in Arkansas, you can read it, you can quote the number, you can obviously call a state rep and say, this is important. I would like you to know that I'm looking at that, and hopefully you can just get call a lot of people. And this is so great. It gives you the sponsor, Stephen Meeks, his phone number, email. So you can reach out to them or his office or this phone number and say, I want to be involved. This is important to me. What do I need to do? How can I support the effort? Can I call other reps in the state? Want to show up? When's the next meeting? Can you put me on a newsletter, email, thread, updates? How can I do it? I would say that these ones that are talking about emerging technologies are probably not going to be exactly what you're looking for, although interesting. So this is one in Wyoming. I clicked on it because it talked about security intermediaries. Clarifying rules for the applicability of the code for investment securities, amending priority rules for securities intermediaries, making conforming amendments, repealing priority rules and applicability rules related to securities intermediaries, and providing for an effective date. And here you can see, just like David is talking about in his interviews, they're just striking out these exceptions. That was Don Grandy's basic approach. Let's get rid of these exceptions. And if we do so, that'll put the priority in the hands of the shareholders. So it looks like this failed in the Senate. Third reading failed 10 to 20 to 1 to 0 to 0, February 12th, 2025. Okay, in Tennessee, it looks like House Bill 443. Exactly. So the actions on this, on March 11th, 2025, that was just a few days ago, assigned to General Subcommittee of Senate Commerce and Labor Committee. So here's in Oregon, SB 167 relating to the Uniform Commercial Code. Almost guarantee that's the same since it's word for word the same. Looks like Mississippi Gold and Silver authorizes legal tender. So there's, but it died in committee. Kentucky, no, that's something different. South Carolina, UCC. And this is it. This is related to a lot of different things, not just what we're looking for. So I'm gonna go back. Securities, intermediaries, effective date. So this is in Oklahoma, HB 1741. So this is for almost sure is what we're looking for. Anything that's talking about modifying provisions for securities intermediaries. I mean, that's what you're going to be looking for. So there you have it in Oklahoma. HB House Bill 1741 in Oklahoma. So this looks like what it would be in Minnesota. SF number 2265. So acquisition of security entitlement from the securities intermediary. Yep. So SF2265 in Minnesota. Looks like more than what we're looking for there with that one in Vermont. .89 pages in Massachusetts. So this one's really interesting, for example, because it's so long in Florida that if you do a word search using Control F and put entitlement, you can find this subsection 678.5101, and you can, it looks like, find what you're looking for. So maybe we'll look at this last point here in the state of Florida. It's subsection like 678.5101, rights of purchaser of security entitlement from entitlement holder. Fourth point, the securities intermediary as purchaser has priority over a conflicting purchaser who has control unless otherwise agreed by the securities intermediary. So you're wanting to clear this up. That's what they're trying to do. You can see how difficult it is to maybe explain. I think what's wild to me is that in one bill you could have all of this 130, say, pages that you're trying to vote yay or nay on. It's too much. I don't know why it's all bundled together like this. So in Wisconsin, Bill 123, you have looks like what we're looking for, and just on March 14th, like a few days ago, it was introduced. So you could definitely still get on this. A lot of sponsors. All Republicans. But still, I mean, I think that's the best tool that I found, so I want to share it with you. It's called Track Bill, and it seems like, honestly, the best keywords you want to use is relating uniform commercial code, and it'll probably get you the best search results. Okay, well, if you find different bills in your state, leave them in the comment section related to this. But 41 bills using these keywords over all states isn't a tremendous number of results to go through, and so I hope that helps. And just, you know, God bless the people. You know, hopefully that, you know, things like justice and fairness, things of this nature, will be upheld. So. One last just little outro is that the probably third most common question was like, well, so what should we do? Like, should we just get out of the stock market completely? And David said that before in numerous videos, that he's gotten out, he's not short the market, but that he's, you know, in agreement with his wife that whatever money, a small amount of money that they keep at the bank for just, you know, grocery store stuff or gas station type stuff, that they're liable to lose it. And so one interesting thing that's kind of been happening is, at least I saw this in Kansas, and it's happening, I think, in a lot of states, is the idea of going back to like transacting or transactional gold. So like here's a Senate Bill number 39 in Kansas. Concerning legal tender, reaffirming gold and silver coin as legal tender. So obviously there's smart people in government that know about this, and they also know of like savvy ways to kind of sidestep problems and how to figure out what can we do that's expedient and doesn't take like a quadruple backflip with like a 270 twist to find a solution. Maybe this is their solution, is to just go back and get transactional gold and silver set up, and that's easier than trying to get some of these exceptions struck from the Uniform Commercial Code. Maybe it's a good plan B or something like that, plan A, plan B. So this is in Kansas. Also allowing like the Treasury, it looks like, to have like a silver and gold bullion depository capability. Anyway, that's it. You can find those types of things if you're willing to look for them, and hopefully that helps get you started.
Trackbill.com was the site I was using. Trackbill.com.
Relating Uniform Commercial Code was the word search keywords that I was using right here in this box. Okay? All right, thanks. Talk to you later. Bye.